A funny thing happened to me on the way to episode 13. I made a little joke in episode 12 and I kind of cracked myself up in the moment. That little joke might have changed everything. Welcome to the Chronicles of Shred. As things have progressed in the course of this podcast, I have relied less and less on notes and scripts and overly preparing to just talk to you. A little bit more of my personality has been coming through, good, bad, or indifferent. I was talking about celebrating the fact that I had made it to 12 episodes when a lot of podcasts don't make it to 3 or 4 episodes. While I was joking about that, I said, I have officially decided that after 12 episodes, you're no longer a guy trying to do a podcast, you're a podcaster. Had a good laugh, thought that was kind of funny. I typically record the podcast a day or two before it's going to air, get it all loaded up. Sometimes I'll re-listen to it, make sure that everything's tight before I let it go. But I recorded that one on Tuesday, and my birthday was Wednesday, so I just queued it up and let it go. I had birthday plans with my wife, and it was going to be a nice day and everything. But I woke up the next morning, and something was different. I felt different. When I made that joke, something shifted. I didn't feel like a guy trying to do a podcast anymore. I felt like a podcaster. That little joke changed my mindset, and I started thinking, what if I reframe this in my mind? Because this whole podcast is a real-time experiment in rebuilding a music career, and I have let myself forget what has gone before, and I have stripped down to the very basics of vocal learning and guitar learning and content creation learning, and treated myself as a very beginner in order to relay the foundation and really try to get good at this. And somewhere along the line, I started to believe that I really was a beginner. And so I kind of reclaimed my history in that moment, if that makes sense. Instead of being a guy trying to learn all these things, I remembered that I am this guy. This is what I do, and I'm working towards getting better at it, but I'm not a beginner, and I'm not starting at zero. And it changed the way that I approach what I'm doing. It changed the way that I feel about myself and about what I'm doing. Perfect example is I have sung lead in a couple of the bands that I was in. Not great, but I did it. And I really wanted to take it back to zero and start over. So I have this vocal learning program that I bought back in the day. And I just kind of did the workouts. I never took the lessons. And I've started going back through the lessons. And I realized that physiologically and mechanically, I do a lot of things wrong. And I struggle and strain where I struggle and strain because of the mechanics. And so part of the process for me has been going back to songs that I used to do and relearn them, paying more attention to the mechanics. And that's been slow going. Learning to do something is hard. Learning to do something after you learn to do it wrong is harder. You have to unlearn and then relearn all at once. I've been doing the level 2 workouts and taking the level 3 lessons because that's where I'm at in the progression of things. But I would take some time afterwards and just play through some songs, and it was very challenging because muscle memory remembers how to do it wrong. So oftentimes I was not pleased with the outcome, to the point where it affected my perception of the timetable, and I was feeling like this is going to take a while. When my mindset shifted and I started thinking, you know what, I'm a singer. This is what I do. Relax, stop overthinking, and just do it. This morning, I went in and I did the level 2 workout as I always do. I did the level 3 lesson, and I felt good. Like I was not overly focused on the mechanics because the mechanics are starting to become muscle memory. And so I just grabbed my acoustic guitar, and I have a little practice rig set up with a microphone and some, reverb, and I set all that aside and I picked up my acoustic guitar and I just sang, and it felt so good. It was so clean. Something changed and I stopped. It was so good. Way better than expected. I'm not going to say that it was earth-shatteringly talented, but all of that overthinking and all of that overanalyzing all went out the window, and I said, this is what I do, and I did it, and it is the best I've ever done. Now, I mentioned in the last episode that I see flashes of brilliance, and by that I mean I see the potential. I see that if I stick with this, it could get good. And today I felt like it got good, and the timetable changed in my mind again to where I felt like it'll be months, maybe a year, maybe years before I'm ready to hit the stage again and feel confident in what I'm doing. And it'll be a long time before I'm ready to set up my studio and start recording original music. And I realized that this is who I am. This is my passion. This is what I've wanted to do for my whole life. And I just got to get out of my own way a little bit. The lessons are working, the mechanics are building, and the muscle memory is there. I just need to let go and flow. When I was done, I said to myself, if that had been on stage in front of people, I would be elated. And so much of this I have said is about me finding my voice. A key factor in finding your voice is releasing it rather than manufacturing it. So I have felt like I am trying to create my voice rather than letting it go. And there was just a subtle flip there that put me into much more of a flow state. And I hit a flow today that was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I've done some solo acoustic shows and they were very trepidatious. I was nervous. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't in command of it. I wasn't flowing. I was trying. I think that's really the main point of what I'm saying is there's a mindset shift that happens when you decide that you're not trying, you're doing. That sounds so self-helpy to me, but it really changed something for me. And the guy who was practicing this morning was light years ahead of the guy that was practicing on Friday. And so the day is coming very soon where I'm going to start sharing things with you and posting videos of what I'm working on because it's real and it's shareable and it's something I can be proud of. And in the short period of time since I said it, one little joke really kind of changed the entire landscape of this for me, and I'm really excited about it. And so the episode did go live on my birthday. I had a great birthday. My wife took the day off and we just stayed home together. And honestly, that's my favorite thing to do is just be home with her with no agenda. We ordered some good Mexican food for lunch on DoorDash, and we had breakfast and lunch in bed and watched terrible, trashy TV and just enjoyed each other. As it rolled into afternoon, she says, well, do you want to go looking at birthday presents? When you're an adult, you know, birthday presents are kind of like, here's your card, I love you, whatever. But not with this girl. She's something else, and she really tries to knock it out of the park. And so she says, well, why don't we go take a look around at local music stores and see what they have? And so we did. We got up and we went to a few local stores and looked around. And I played a ton of guitars. And, you know, for all my married guys out there, you know how it is. I mean, after about 15 minutes, the eyes get glassy and the phone comes out. And it's understandable because if we were at some boutique shopping for purses, you know, you could see that happening. But not this girl. She didn't do that. And we walked through one big music store and I didn't see anything that I liked. I mean, I've got a lot of guitars. I've played guitar for a long time. I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like. And I can very easily go through a very big guitar store and not find a thing. And so we went to the local guitar center and they have the Platinum Room, which has all the high dollar stuff in there. I played everything. I played everything they had. And I found a couple that I kind of liked, but nothing that really blew my wig back. You know, I'm a big Facebook Marketplace shopper. And a couple of weeks ago, I had seen an Ernie Ball Music Man, Steve Lukather model. I played one of those when I bought my Petrucci, you know, my Ibanez JPM 100 that I bought brand new in 95. I played a Luke back then, and I was like, this guitar is amazing. And I mean, it had the EMG 85 and the two single coils and the Music Man trem or whatever their basic trem is, and the thing played so good and it sounded so good, but it was ugly as hell and it was expensive, maybe $2,000 back then, but that was like, you know, new car money to me. Like, there was no way in hell I was spending $2,000 on a guitar, especially one that I was kind of like, I love this, but it's really, I don't want to be seen in public with it. I didn't buy that, and I never really even considered them again. And I had checked out Music Man when Petrucci went to Music Man, and I didn't really care for those, to be totally honest with you. And I had played the Eddie Van Halen model that they made, and those were amazing. But again, way out of my league price-wise. So it kind of had been in the back of my mind that someday. So in my marketplace wanderings, I found a Luke with the EMG configuration that I liked, and I wanted to go check it out. The guy was asking a pretty reasonable price for it. It had a big gouge on the back, and there was paint missing, but the front looked good, and the price was good enough to where the gouge wasn't killing me. I sent him an offer and said, I'd like to come check it out if you'll take this. I'm very interested. And he messaged me back and said, there's no way I'll go that low. I already priced it too low. And I said, okay, well, what are you willing to do? And he messaged back and said, well, I have plenty of opportunities to sell this guitar, and I'm not taking any less than that, and that's even too low. And then he marked it sold and said, thanks for your time. It really kind of awakened in me the desire to check out that Luke again and see if it was amazing as I remembered it 30 years ago, or if that was just like my first experience with a really high-end guitar back then. And so when we went to the local guitar center, they had a used Luke, and I played a used Luke, a new Petrucci, a new Majesty, an Ibanez Pia. I played a couple of American Jacksons. I played half of what they had in that platinum room. And I mean, I probably lined up 20 grand worth of guitars and just played them. And you know, that woman sat there and listened to everything I said about every guitar. When I would go back to one, she would say, well, remember, you said you don't like where the switch is on that. And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. Thank you. But I played a ton of guitars. We were probably there 2 hours, and she never lost interest. She never wandered off. She never picked up her phone. She just sat right there with me and went through all that. So I didn't make a move that day, but we had planned Saturday to make a pilgrimage to Fort Wayne, Indiana, to the Sweetwater retail location. Now that I'm in Ohio, I've been there several times. We went through there once on tour, and it was like the Holy Land. It was, I mean, it's a mall. It's a mall of music equipment. It's incredible. I love that place. They have a food court in there, like you can spend the day. So I went back for a Rep Beach clinic. I went back for Guitar Fest. I mean, I love it there. And so they were doing their retail store re-grand opening. I just wanted to go and be there and see what was going on. And that was really kind of the birthday plan, was to go to that. So the fact that she kind of rousted me out of bed and took me out to go look at Guitarist Local was awesome too. And we get to Sweetwater, and I make a beeline for the used wall. I will buy a used guitar 99 times out of 100. And so I walk in, and I got it in my head. I'm interested in a Music Man. I'm also kind of interested in a Paul Reed Smith, and I played a few of those at Guitar Center, and I checked out a couple on Marketplace, and man, they weren't it for me. I mean, suffice to say, they had a crap ton of guitars. And so then we went into the new room and looked around, and I tried Paul Reed Smiths, and I tried Sir, and I tried BC Rich. I mean, I tried anything that caught my eye. And then I went in and tried all the used Music Mans. You know, one of them had a wiring problem, and so I was talking to the sales guy. He's like, well, let me see what else we got used. Pulls up the used inventory and brings down 3 more used Ernie Balls. And they're boxed up and ready to ship, and he just tore them open and broke them out. I mean, I had 5 or 6 of them in one of the demo rooms, and my wife is just sitting there taking notes. And she remembered everything that I said. So like I would pick one back up, and she's like, well, remember you said that you don't like this one because it doesn't have a tremolo. And remember you said that you don't like this one because the action's too high. And I mean, like, she knew all the lingo. I mean, I was very obsessive because by then I was zeroing in on the guitar I wanted to take home with me. And they had an absolutely gorgeous Ball Family Reserve Steve Morse in Tranquility Blue or something. I'd never seen anything like it. Had a reverse headstock. I've never seen a Music Man with a reverse headstock, quilted top. I mean, it was just so pretty, but the neck was like a baseball bat, and it was a hardtail. And it was my number 2 choice. But after all of that, all that trial and error, and every time I pick one up, she's like, well, remember, you didn't like that about this one. And there was one from the front runner that she had picked as soon as we walked in. She picked it, and I was like, I don't know if I like the color. And I played them all, and man, that thing played so good. Several of them had been plecked, and this one played better than the plecked ones. And I had really wanted a Music Man Luke 1, but this was a Music Man Luke 4. and the color is called Fireball, and it's got kind of an orange tint to it. And somewhere along the line, she decided that its name was the Slutty Pumpkin, and that was it. That was the one, and I played all those guitars. We were there for hours. I mean, we took a break, ate lunch in the cafe, and went back and played more. And the Slutty Pumpkin was the one. I have wanted a Music Man Luke for more years than I care to think about and do the math. And this woman sat there with me for hours until I picked the absolute ideal guitar. It plays great. It sounds great. The finish took a minute for me to warm up to, but it is absolutely incredible. And so I am now the proud owner of the Slutty Pumpkin, and it is my new favorite guitar. I might even make it the guitar of the week this week. I don't know. But even more than that, what a great partner she has been to me through all of this while I build this career that I'm trying to build. She's been so loving and so supportive, and we picked that guitar and she basically slapped a bow on it and said happy birthday. It was not a cheap guitar. I mean, I got a good deal on it. It was used. I talked them down. They were having a big sale. So I really got a nice deal on it, but I probably still wouldn't have paid that for it. And she just made it happen. And I am such a lucky guy to have a girl like that in my life. And all those years back in high school, man, I just thought she was hot. But man, she's the whole package. She's just the best thing that ever happened to me. It was such a great trip, and I got such an amazing guitar out of it. And it really kind of fit into the whole transition from a guy trying to do things to a guy doing things. These guitars are made to be studio guitars. They just sound great, and they're so versatile, and they play great. Steve Lukather is a big session guy, and that's exactly what these things are for. And that felt like a new piece to the workflow. I'm getting ready to start recording original music, and I'm so excited about it. I feel like it's all coming together. And I know it's not going to be that way every day. Every day it's not going to be the highest of highs, but I see it. I see it coming together. The discipline is paying off. The process is working. It's so incredible. I'm so grateful to be where I am and be doing what I'm doing, and to have the support and the love that I have, and to have the facility and the equipment that I have. I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed. I feel like this is, at the ripe old age of 54, the absolute best time of my life, and I'm very thankful for it. And I can't wait to start sharing music with you, and I can't wait to see what's next. This is the Chronicles of Shred. Thanks for being part of it.